What is up, guys? How you doing? So I decided I'm not the place to go for hardware reviews. Just kidding. The review of this is totally coming sometime this week. Anyway, I decided I wasn't that good at reviewing hardware, so I thought I'd go into software instead. So I'm reviewing Pokemon Go. Realistically, I'm actually reviewing AR games as a whole. I think this will function as a good roundup of what Pokemon Go has been so far, and realistically it's a good view of how the landscape is in terms of AR games. So for those of you living under a really big rock, like to the extent that it has more active users than Twitter big. Basically, Pokemon Go is this game where you play Pokemon in augmented reality. So to travel around in the game, you have to travel around in real life. That means these gamer people have to actually leave the house. So the idea is if you're somewhere crowded, rarer Pokemon will appear, and the only way to catch different kinds of Pokemon is to physically get up and go and travel. You can't sit at home and wait for Pokemon to come to you. If you want that, buy a 3DS. There are multiple points of interest in this game. There are Pokestops, which function as, well, pit stops if you really think about it. You turn up, collect a few items, carry on, and then there are gyms where you go and do battle with your Pokemon. Currently there are 3 teams, Mystic, Instinct, and Valor. Ooh, I actually got all 3 and I hadn't even prepped that line. Quick side note, Mystic currently has the most amount of players, it's the blue team. The red team is second, and I think that one's Valor, I can't remember. And then the third team, Instinct maybe, has the least, they're yellow. So just in case you're wondering in terms of popularity, chances are at some point they'll also offer you the ability to pay 100 Pokecoins or whatever for you to change teams. Anyway, you go to a gym, and as one of these 3 teams, you either go to battle the Pokemon who are already there to try and take over the gym, or you turn up and you help out by adding your own Pokemon or by strengthening the gym. Now, this game came out at a really great time, by complete coincidence, as a matter of fact, with so much bad news with the shootings in America and then the police shootings. It was nice to have Pokemon Go as a way of just forgetting about what was going on, and a lot of people are thinking that it's risen to the peak. Okay, there's no denying it at this point, and it's just gonna drop off just as quickly. But I think that's not gonna happen. Realistically, Niantic, I don't know. Realistically, Niantic have already made a game like this. They basically skinned Ingress. Ingress, if you don't know, is essentially the same game as Pokemon Go, but instead of battling, you're hacking nodes, and it's augmented reality hacking without use of the camera. Fun fact, Niantic used to be owned by Google. Anyway, these guys are real professionals, so they took a lot of the data they had from Ingress and transferred it over in terms of where to put Pokestops and gyms and stuff like that. But it means that they know what they're doing. Realistically, Pokemon is just the face of this game, and it's worked so well because for older people it's a point of nostalgia, and for younger people it's a mobile game that they get excited about absolutely anything. And it's so sociable. You have to physically go out into the world. If you're wondering why I keep pointing that way, it's because that's where the outside is. You have to go out into the world and explore, and you meet people, and you can tell when someone else is playing Pokemon. Trust me, you can. It gives you this opportunity to go out and socialize and meet people you may never have met, discussing where you found Charizard or whatever Pokemon that was in Central Park. That was crazy. And sure, it won't sustain the level of player activity it has currently, but I think just like Ingress, and probably a larger group than Ingress, it'll have a dedicated group of players playing it. Now, it's not going to be, it might get to the point where you can't actively notice people playing it, but it's not just going to fizz out and die completely. I think the real trick is to keep the updates coming thick and fast with new content. They need to turn up and go, oh, by the way, we added this feature and this item and then this feature and then this item, and now you can buy these, and quick, click on this, you want to get one of these. And I think if Niantic handled that properly, this has staying power. In fact, Pokemon Go has basically created an industry overnight, and by created I more mean cemented. Imagine Pokemon Go on the HoloLens. Now, don't do that because you're physically tethered to power and just, it's not a good idea. But in concept, imagine a HoloLens that isn't connected to anything else, and how great that would be. Imagine a game where you look around and, like in Pokemon, there are things all around you. You can go, ha! So instead of flicking it on a screen, you're flicking at it in real life. Well, throwing, in the case of Pokemon. You're throwing at it in real life. It is something that has been extremely underrated by most press. And if you look at devices, they're slowly heading to that point. If you look at Tango, it plans to map the 3D world. And imagine playing Pokemon Go on Tango. It would be so much better. Actually, if you have a Tango, let me know because I want to know how it is. AR will become better and better because our ability to map the physical world is becoming better and better. Personally, I'm really excited for Yu-Gi-Oh! Go. Imagine that, like walking around, like collecting Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards and then dueling. That's what we need. But here's the important thing. Pokemon Go isn't a game you play for the in-depth story. In fact, it comes with basically no tutorial. You meet Professor Willow, you choose a Pokemon, he's like, by the way, when you hit level 5, go to a gym at some point, that will probably be a good idea. And that's more or less it. And that is something that is secretly amazing because you get people like me who are teaching other people. We're going, hey, look at this game, isn't it great? And you have to sit there and be like, yeah, you do this, this, and this, and they feel really smart. And all that shaking made my watch turn on. And then you get the people who have no idea what they're doing. They download it and they go, hey, good. Can you help, George? Can you tell me how this works? This looks cool. I mean, I don't know what it is, but it looks cool. And on the subject of looking cool, did I mention that Pokemon Go is the first Pokemon game that lets you customize your character outside of picking a gender? Great, right? The question then becomes how long before they start monetizing it with those, so you can buy new hats. But here's the thing, sure, the game looks great, and I don't mean it looks like a AAA title, I mean they're the most realistic Pokemon you've ever seen kind of great. But Nintendo and Niantic, realistically, really need to capitalize on it right this second. Now, people looking at the source code have realized that there's already potential for brand partnerships, with reference to McDonald's coming up a few times. So maybe McDonald's sponsored Pokestops or something, I don't know. But they need to get on that bandwagon soon because sure, it's not gonna drop flat, but it is going to steadily decline, and the sooner you get on that, the better it will be for Niantic. Realistically, Pokemon Go and AR games in general will never be the most amazing games in any form. They won't be the best looking, or they won't have the best storyline, but they will always be the most sociable games. Because there'll always be a game where you have to go out there and do actual physical things in the actual physical world. And that's a leg up they have on every other game when you think about it. You're not sat there on a controller at home. You're out there going for walks, maybe taking a run you never would have done before to hatch an egg. And people are exercising without even noticing it. And people are out and about infinitely more than before Pokemon Go. It's rumored that Nintendo are making roughly $1.4 million a day in America on exclusively iOS, and that was when it first came out, so no doubt that number has gone up. And even their stocks have gone up by 60% or something since Pokemon Go. So they're already making tons of money. And just earlier today, they actually exceeded Sony in terms of valuation. But it is something they will need to monitor closely, and they can't let it die off. So it's a public service announcement to Pokemon Go and the rest of the AR world, which is make sure you keep your content up to date, or else people won't want to do it anymore. No one wants to spend 2 weeks catching only Zubats, which is what it feels like I've been doing. Anyway guys, if you liked the video, make sure to hit like. If you didn't like it, you were probably here for Pokemon Go. If not, click up here to see the previous video. You might prefer that over this. And if not, and you still want to see something, make sure to click up here to see a random video I haven't picked yet. It could be anything. Trust me, it's good though, because I only ever make good videos. Like, let's be completely honest here. Subscribe to see more videos like this one, and I'll see you guys next time.